episode of the Hats Off podcast by 17 Hats. I'm your host, Amanda Rae, and today we are going to dive into another raw lesson on the business and solopreneur journey. I wanted to share, I am reading a book, and I read lots of books, but I am specifically reading this book called Sales Pitch by April Dunford. She has a lot of great books, really for SaaS companies, but I think there's so much to be learned from her books. Highly recommend them. But as I was reading it, there was one stat that she put in this book that I found really mind blowing, I think is the right word that I would use. And I really had to stop at this page and go, whoa, this changes things. It changes how we should market, how we should talk about things, how we do things. This is a turning point right here. And so I wanted to share this stat with you and talk to you all about it as well, because I think it's that important. The stat is that between 40 and 60% of purchasing processes, 40 and 60% of purchasing processes end in no decision. Let's say that again. Between 40 to 60% of purchasing processes end in no decision. So that means somebody gets on their computer or goes to the store and starts thinking, I want to hire a DJ, or I need to hire a coach, or I need to, whatever it is that they're going to hire or buy. And they start looking, and 40 to 60% of them go nowhere. That's huge. So then the question is why? Why do they go nowhere? That's a lot of money. That's a lot of leads. That's a lot of everything. That's a huge opportunity that we're missing out on. That's a big stat. So why, and what is it that we need to do to lower that stat? Because I could see 20 to 30%, but 40 to 60? So when I started kind of diving in the book, and I haven't actually read the whole book, I really stopped there to really take it in. I probably need to read more of the book. She probably tells us, but I start to kind of go in and think about it. And she tells the story about, when she goes to buy a toilet. Again, I totally recommend the book, but she goes to actually buy a toilet, right? Which should be like, you're buying a toilet. But how difficult that process is. And then you are reminded on people who do go to buy things, they get overwhelmed. And then it's like decision fatigue. Ever heard that before? Decision fatigue, too many choices. And because you have too many choices, no choice is made, right? Too many choices. And because there's too many choices, it's overwhelming and no choice is made. Okay. So think of it like going, like looking at a wine list. You have 1,000 different wines. It's like, I don't know, just give me the top one, which is why you probably end up, it's like people buy either the most expensive or the cheapest. You don't necessarily buy the best, right? Then it becomes about price, or you just don't do anything. It's too much to look at, too much to take in, right? So when I look at this and I start thinking about it, obviously I've had a lot of thoughts with just the purchasing of 17 Hats and the buyer's journey with that. But if you take it into your own buyer's journey, as a solopreneur, right now we know that solopreneurs are everywhere, especially, we're a few years out of COVID now, but especially during COVID, everybody was trying to earn some extra money. People were staying home. A lot of people picked up hobbies, which those hobbies became businesses. So now more than ever, you have 100 photographers per town. You have 100 coaches per town, 100 DJs, 100 whatever per town. There is decision fatigue for sure happening. So your buyers right now, people who could potentially become your clients, are searching the internet, trying to find you and being hit by 5 or 6 or 10, 20 different people that do your exact same service, right? But 40 to 60% of them aren't choosing any of you. A lot of times we just think they're choosing somebody else. Sure, some of them are, but a lot of them are choosing nothing. How, like, whoa, that's crazy. So, what I bring to you today in this podcast is what are you going to do about that? That's unacceptable in my book. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to stand out and say, I get this is difficult. I get that choosing the right person, the right business, the right service is hard. I get that it's an overwhelming choice. But this is why you should choose me. Let me guide you. Let me help you. Because as small business owners, we sell the same thing over and over again. We know what we do really well, right? I know when you come in and you buy 17 hats, you're going to create a contact, you're going to create a project, and you're going to send an invoice, and they have this really cool workflow stuff, and it can like change your life, right? But as a buyer, you're going, whew, that's a lot. I don't know that I'm ready for that yet. Right. And even though I know you're ready and I know you should, and I know it's the best step for your business, the buyer's going, I'm a little nervous. I'm not quite sure what it looks like to go down that path, which is exactly what your, I'm going to call them non-leads, right? People, very prospects, we'll call them prospects, exactly what your prospects are saying. I see them there. I see that I can hire them, but I don't know what it looks like behind that curtain, behind that web page, behind that Instagram account. What does that experience actually look like and feel like? Do I see myself in that experience? Does that experience work for me? Is that a doable thing for me? Right? I go back to I recently started working out, which I have a love-hate relationship with. If you've listened to my podcast, Renee's been on the podcast before, my trainer. And I probably checked out 20 to 30 different gyms before deciding on one, which I only decided on the one because they're like 3 doors down. It was proximity of location with my schedule, which is why I decided on them, which worked out perfectly. I absolutely adore them. But honestly, if they wouldn't have moved in 3 doors down, I would have never signed up with them. I just wouldn't, because there were too many people, too many gyms, too many different types. It was too overwhelming. I have enough decisions to make on a daily basis. I couldn't mentally make that decision, have the time to research it. But if somebody, I mean, again, they moved in, so I just went with them. But if somebody would have reached out to me and said, let me show you what this looks like, let me show you what this feels like, I could have made that decision so much quicker, so much easier, right? Every gym that I went to was like, come in for a free trial. Like that was it. Like that was it. Just come in, sign up for one. I couldn't get anybody on the phone. I couldn't talk to anybody. I couldn't get any questions answered beforehand. Nothing. I couldn't get a glimpse behind the curtain. So in reality, like even though it did eventually end in a decision, I couldn't make a decision because of the overwhelm for like literally 7 months, which is crazy. Your prospects are doing the exact same thing. They are back there going, I want to do this. I don't know how to do this. And for us, it's really simple. Like, just freaking fill out the lead capture form and you're good. Like, just take the step, right? It seems so easy to us because this is what we do day after day after day. We provide our service. But for them, it's their first time a lot of times. It's their first time coming and getting a service from you, or they had a bad experience from other people. So they're coming in with some baggage or some hesitation. So they're nervous walking through that threshold. So, what are you going to do as a business owner to guide them through just clicking that button on that lead capture form? Right? So here's a few things as I was kind of thinking and going through this on like what's possible and what should be the next step. You know, I think as solopreneurs, people want trust is huge. You're going to hear me talk about trust 1,000 times on this podcast, but people want to know you and they want to trust you. Trust is huge. So, behind the scenes footage, video footage. And I know some of you are like, I don't like video. I don't want to be good on video. I don't like video. Here I am. Here I am. It's just what you got to do, right? You just got to show up. Turn your camera on. Like I have this little, my camera's not on it right now, but I always have this little guy with me, right? Turn your camera on. You can do it. Your first video doesn't have to be great. It just has to be done, right? It just has to be done. It doesn't need to be great. Okay. So some behind the scenes footage, let them know who you are, right? There was back in the day, a few years ago, like people would want to put, and I even did this on my website a long time ago. It's like, this is my favorite color and this is my favorite food and this is where I like to shop, and to give them a glimpse of kind of who the business owner was. And I don't recommend that anymore. I look back at that trend and go, what were we thinking? I don't recommend that anymore for a variety of different reasons. But people want to know that how you do things. If you're a DJ, how do you do that? What does it look like? How do you show up? Do you show up looking professional or do you show up looking not so professional? If you're a coach, how do you go about coaching? What does your voice sound like? What is your posture, the environments, the essence? What is that? The five senses. I cannot express how important your clientele needs to understand and really kind of evoke those five senses with you, right? How from hearing to touch and all of that. One exercise that I love to do with people is like if your business was a texture, it sounds so crazy, but if your business was a texture, what texture would your business be? If your business was a texture, what texture would your business be? Because even though your business is not a texture, they physically cannot fill your business. They still, our five senses are so in tune with everything, right? Everything around us. You still come across, your business still sends a vibe to those five senses, right? So looking at your business from that point of view, it gets interesting. It gets fun. But yeah, I mean, you really have to guide them. So the videos, allowing them to see kind of your essence and your aura, allowing them to get a sneak peek into the behind the scenes of what it feels like to have you leading this service, allowing them to know kind of your personality, your beliefs, and your values, what you stand for, what you believe in. I'm not saying go all political. Don't do that. But stand true in who you are. If you are loud and fun and love to party, then bring it. You're going to attract those people. If you're quiet and kind of stoic and you're not, maybe you're an introvert, that's okay. Show that, because you're going to attract people that's attracted to that, right? So a part of guiding them to creating this decision is letting them get a glimpse behind the curtain, because we can put the web page up and we can put the static photos up and we can put the blog post up and all of that jazz and Instagram. But if they don't actually get to know you and who you are and who your business is and guide them of what's going to happen when you book with me, this is the journey, right? This is what occurs. You don't need to overwhelm them with every detail. But what's the first 3 steps? How are you thinking about every question they have when that 40 to 60% is searching for your service, not making a decision, right? Not making a decision. What questions do they have in their head? And how are you going to answer those questions to guide them to clicking the contact me button, right? Because there's a ton of questions happening in their head, right? So it's important for you to be able to answer them. So how are you answering them on your webpage? How are you answering them in your social media? Can you create a video to answer those questions? What are you doing? So as I've started with this, that is such an unacceptable number for me, 40 to 60%. If like, I'm a little irritated by that. So you should be irritated. I mean, I feel like we should all be irritated. Like we're not doing our jobs well enough if it's that high of number, right? So I encourage you to really sit with that number and think about what is it that you can do to decrease that number, so that we are guiding people through our buyer's journey, that we are standing out, we are creating trust, we are creating a journey, we are creating an experience, we're giving them a glimpse behind the curtains so that we can, we can better serve our community, right? Better serve our community. One of the things that frustrates me, I don't know, I'm on a frustrated path today, but one of the things that I guess used to frustrate me, not really too much anymore, but when people purchase things that are not the best for them, right? Does that frustrate anybody else? We see this with 17 Hats as well, and I've seen it with my photography career. But you know, they purchase things because it was the shiny object or because it had this one thing that looked good, but knowing that you are actually the better choice, that you provide better, that you do better, that you are going to take care of them better, like that's frustrating, right? And a lot of times, you know, the they don't choose you because you have not guided them through the experience to show them how well you're going to take care of them, how well you're going to be there for them, right? And so when they are presented with 10, 15, 20 different options, at some point they just pick one because they know they have to pick one. They just have to pick one. So it is a close your eyes, spin your finger around and point, and whichever one your finger lands on, that's who you get, right? So let's make it very, very clear of why they should pick you. And I'm very excited to read the rest of April's book. I've not gone through. I'm sure she's going to dive into more of this as well in the book. But you know, let's make it clear and let's give them that experience. Let's guide them. Let's help them. But ultimately, because we are service-based businesses, let's come at it from a place of service, that we want to help you, we want to guide you, and we want to serve you. Because when you show up in that authentic way of service, you're going to win every time. So let's not be comfortable with the 40, 60% statistic. Let's change that. And another deep dive into all things business here on the Hats Off podcast. I appreciate you joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.